It's a good thing fighting is permitted in the NHL because there's no shortage of guys that you'd like to punch in the face. The league has a rich history of irksome pests that you love to hate. But there's a special place reserved deep in the sewer for a certain few completely annoying Cretans. While you wish they'd dwell deep underground, they spend most of their time dwelling underneath the skin of your favorite players. Here's a look at the biggest rats in NHL history. Raffi Torres literally played himself out of the league with his reckless acts. In total, Torres was suspended 5 times for illegal hits to opponents' heads. He received a 21-game suspension for his hit to the head of Marian Hossa in Game 3 of the 2012 Western Conference quarterfinals. He followed that up in October 2015 with a record 41-game suspension for an illegal hit on Anaheim player Jacob Silfverberg, and Torres never played again. Ulf Samuelsson was a complete nightmare during his time in the NHL. He played on the edge and had no qualms about injuring his opponents. Not only did he play hard, but on many nights he seemed downright reckless. Every night, he went on the ice with a mean streak and wasn't afraid to toe the line. Sean Avery might be one of the most hated players in NHL history. He played without a spine, was reckless, and said so many appalling things. One of his most infamous moments was when he said, "I just want to comment on how it's become like a common thing in the NHL for guys to fall in love with my sloppy seconds. I don't know what that's about, but enjoy the game tonight." This was in reference to Alicia Cuthbert, his ex-girlfriend and then girlfriend of Calgary Flames defenseman Dion Phaneuf. It's one thing to talk smack to other players, but leave friends and family out of it. Tom Wilson is a good hockey player when he can stay on the ice, but that's the problem. He's been suspended 5 times and fined another 2 times for crossing the line with his physical play. Since the start of the 2013-14 season, Wilson has been the most penalized player in the regular season, often because of dirty play. Brad Marchand is arguably the biggest rat in the game today. Known as the generation's little ball of hate, Marchand is constantly running his mouth, slashing, and even licking his opponents. Brad Marchand has been suspended more times than any player in the NHL history and has forfeited over $1.4 million in salary over the course of his 8 suspensions. Matthew Tkachuk has a very rare combination of offensive ability and a propensity to annoy his opponents. Last season, Tkachuk eclipsed the 100-point mark while getting under the skin of his biggest rivals. He's only 25 years old, so he's only going to get better and become more of a pest as he beats the opposition with both his silky smooth mitts and his loud mouth. While he's getting into the heads of his opponents, he's breaking the hearts of their fans by lighting the lamp. In the history of the game, there are a few guys tougher than Bob Probert. Probert is best known for his prowess as a fighter and enforcer. In 16 NHL seasons, he fought 285 times and is featured in some of the league's most epic bouts. Together with Detroit Red Wings teammate Joe Coker, Probert was part of the Bruise Brothers. Probert also had his fair share of off-ice antics and legal issues to go with his on-ice aggression. Literally known as Matt the Rat, Matthew Barnaby was a career pest. If he wasn't hitting his opponents, he was running his mouth, talking trash. His number one function was to be an agitator. Some of his most notable moments feature him in the center of some epic brawls. Ty Domi is an all-time enforcer, but crossed the line on more than a few occasions. His list of transgressions includes being suspended for 8 games for knocking out Ulf Samuelsson, knocking Scott Niedermayer unconscious with an elbow, and squirting a Philadelphia Flyers fan with his water bottle, causing a fight in the penalty box. As they say, a tiger never changes its stripes. This aptly applies to Cook. For a while, he had some fooled into thinking he was a changed man, but he was more of a ticking time bomb than anything. His biggest contributions to the NHL have revolved around the ending of seasons and even the careers of his opponents. Among Cook's greatest offenses is citing Mark Savard, effectively ending his career. This was just one of several incidents that featured delivering shots to the head and hitting opponents from behind. You name it. Chris Simon's done it. He's stomped on other players, used racial slurs, and put the game of hockey in a negative light on multiple occasions. His worst moment was when he slashed Ryan Holweg's throat. All of these heinous acts earned Simon 8 suspensions totaling 65 games. To say Dale Hunter played with an edge would be an understatement. He is second all-time with 3,565 penalty minutes, which stemmed from countless fights and over-aggressive hits. His worst moment came in 1993 when he was suspended for 21 games after he obliterated Pierre Turgeon post-whistle after Turgeon scored a goal. Steve Ott made a career out of being pesky and jawing at the opposition. He also wasn't afraid to drop the gloves when he needed to. His transgressions include eye gouging, delivering shots to the head, and delivering other questionable hits. Ott played on the edge his entire career and received multiple suspensions. Pat Verbeek was the original little ball of hate. Verbeek is the only player in the NHL history to total over 500 career goals and 2,500 career penalty minutes. He was known for slashing the legs of his opposition and taunting them in the process. The fiery winger was only 5'9" and even lost part of his thumb. Didn't let that stop him from getting under the skin of the entire league. Claude Lemieux has committed so many egregious acts and rarely had the spine to answer for them. He's most known for turtling instead of facing the consequences after shoving Detroit Red Wings forward Chris Draper into the boards, giving him a concussion, broken jaw, broken nose, and broken cheekbone. Lemieux was also involved in an incident on the Howard Stern show which led to the Stanley Cup being defecated in. Class act. As one of the NHL's all-time tough guys, Marty McSorley was no stranger to physical play, but rather than being known for his big hits or epic fights, he's best remembered for his dirty play. He's infamously known for skating behind Donald Brashear and delivering a hard shot to the side of his head with his stick. Not only did this land in hot water with the NHL, but McSorley was also found guilty of assault and given 18 months probation. What's more murine than biting? Jarkko Ruutu is best known for sickening his teeth into the competition. Literally. In his most infamous moment, he bit Buffalo Sabres forward Andrew Peters' thumb during a scrum. Ruutu was known for his reckless streak, often trying to intentionally injure his opponents with flying elbows and headshots. Esa Tikkanen was so much of an annoying trash talker that his speech got its own nickname, Tiki Talk, which was a mashup of slurred English and Finnish. Tikkanen's biggest claim to fame was Guardian of Gretzky. As the Great One's protector, he was a complete pest, getting under the skin of his opponents. What the 5'6" Teal Fleury lacked in size, he made up for with tenacity. He didn't let his stature stop him from making a physical impact on the game. Fleury has never been afraid to speak his mind, making claims about players, management, and even the NHL hierarchy. Darius Kasparaitis not only sounds like a disease, but probably felt like one for his opponents. As the truest form of a defensive defenseman, hitting everything in sight, he sometimes crossed the line with his bone-crushing hits. He gave 100% effort and had a knack for getting under the opposition's skin. Neil is well known for hitting a player when he has his head down. Neil has been suspended multiple times and was never afraid to straddle the line. When Neil wasn't wreaking havoc with his body, he was jawing away, chirping the opposition. Regardless, he played every shift with intensity. Who's a player you think ought to join Master Splinter in the sewer? Let us know in the comments.